Come with me if you want to live.
Are you not entertained? Is that why you are here?
Zip, don't get scared.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. This is it. Don't get scared now. And how are you guys doing? It's been 10, 11, 12 days. You know what? It's been too damn long. So welcome back to a brand new live show where we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. In particular, movies is one of the main topics we usually talk about, and other weird shit along the way, but nevertheless, it's a good time, so I hope you grab something popcorn, something salty to eat, something cold to drink. You guys know how this shit goes. 3 ice cubes, no more, no less, or you can get a delicious Sprite Zero. Ugh. I wish every time it rained, the precipitation was Sprite Zero. I go outside and look up into the heavens all day and hope for the best. Okay. Let's not talk about Sprite Zero. Let's talk about your questions. And the first one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, Quentin Tarantino recently described the movie critic as Travis Bickle if he were a film critic. Sounds like Tarantino's making a movie about your life, John. Laugh out loud. In many ways, this is the ultimate movie my body always wanted, always needed, and now I'm finally getting it. And when it comes to Tarantino, I love the man. There's a handful of his films that might just go in my top 50 movies of all time. But when you described the film critic just the way you did, if you could go into the recesses of my brain, and it's a deep, dark, gooey place, and chisel your way down into the core of who I am and what makes me me, that is the movie I would want to see. A movie directed by Tarantino. It's about a film critic in the style of Taxi Driver. You just combine like 17 of my favorite things onto one, and that instantly gets me excited. Hey, if it's his last movie, fine by me. He picked the exact premise I wanted him to pick for a final film. I can't wait to see it. I love films like this. I hope there's a lot of internal narration going on. I hope this guy's a complete sociopath to some degree, which I think just makes any film instantly more entertaining and weird, and there's a lot of dark humor along the way. But I can't wait. And hey, maybe it will sort of remind me of my own life. You know? I don't know. I can't wait to see it. I don't know the exact casting for everything yet. I know at one point recently Tom Cruise said he would love to be in a Tarantino film. And if ever there was a movie, I feel like the critic could have a Tom Cruise cameo to some degree. Just imagine in the film, what are we talking about right now? Oh yeah, the movie critic. Imagine if there was like a 7-minute cameo scene with Tom Cruise just doing the most vulgar shit. I was going to say, imagine the pawn shop basement scene in Pulp Fiction, but with Tom Cruise in some capacity. Tom Cruise in a gimp mask? I don't know. It's not something I woke up thinking I wanted, but now I'm going to go to sleep thinking I need it. All right, let's go to the next question. It's getting really weird here. The 50% Doctor Who podcast says, have you seen Madame Web yet? No, I have not. And I feel like it's been a while since I've done a movie review on YouTube. It's been a long, long fucking time. Let's all be honest here, okay? Maybe Madame Web will bring me back. And I'll tell you why. It's not because I think it's going to be a quality film. Oh, no. I could have told you the complete polar opposite of that shit as soon as I watched the first trailer. Actually, 7 seconds into the trailer. Actually, I could have just read the casting choices and told you it was going to be a big pile of dog shit. Furthermore, I need to let people know not to waste their money on such an atrocity from cinema. Now, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm willing to say this. If you thought Sony topped themselves with making one of the worst comic book movies of all time with Morbius, let's all just hold our breath and watch Madame Web. I can't wait to see it. You know what? That's sort of a half lie, and I'll tell you why. I'm at a point in my life where I would prefer to watch movies I'm looking forward to that are going to be good and give me that cinematic experience with an immersiveness, exploration of what quality movies are. But unfortunately, the only thing we have this week is Madame Web, okay? That's where we are with movies, at least currently, okay? It's kind of a weird, dark, bleak time in the cinema, is it not? It just feels like there's not really anything to get excited for, or at least it's been a long time since there's been a movie hitting cinemas that just makes me think, oh man, I can't wait to go sit in that theater and watch this movie with a big bucket of popcorn. I'm not saying there hasn't been some good movies over the last couple of months, but there hasn't been that one huge blockbuster. Does anyone else feel the same way? Anyway, did I answer the question? I don't know. I think I did. I think I went 5 different ways with that question, and I probably didn't answer any of them, but I apologize. So with all of that said, let's just go to the next one, because clearly you can tell I've been up for a very long time. I'm slightly delirious, but I will take a sip of this Sprite Zero. And by the way, guys, you guys are already killing it with the questions. And I do thank you for that, and we will get to every single one of them. And also, I will try to chime in over here on the normal chat. It just goes by so quick, but I do see some good questions along the way. So, actually, here's one from Gabe Tricks, who says, "What brings you joy nowadays?" The small things in life bring me joy. To keep it completely honest with you, there's nothing I enjoy more in life than coming home, taking a shower, getting in my jammies, and I lay in bed with my fiance, and I turn on the heating pad, I eat some Swedish fish, I drink a Sprite Zero, and we watch the most random movie, or we watch survival-esque thriller films, because that's what we like to watch. It's sort of our favorite genre. And I just immerse into that. I have a projector in my bedroom, and I have a very long bedroom, so it works perfectly as almost a in-bed cinema, if you will. And I watch movies on this 200-inch projection screen, and it just takes me to my happy place, and then I just fall asleep, and I lay in the fetal position, and I just hug my pillow. Anyway, that's what brings me joy these days, the simple things in life. And that's my best advice to anyone watching right now. Take comfort in the simple pleasures of life, because they will never let you down and they will never fail you. But most importantly, they will always be there. Okay. This is no longer a live show about movies. No. This is a self-help live stream. Okay? So thank you for joining me. I think we could all use a little help nowadays. All right. But did I answer your question? Oh, yes. It was about Madame Web. I might want to start talking a little bit faster. Okay. James Dozier says, "Hey, John. How have you been?" Simple question. Busy. I've been working a full-time job, and it's been very time-consuming and slightly draining, and I'm trying to balance life with that right now. And also, I would like to make more YouTube videos. I do miss the creativity of just putting things out on YouTube, and YouTube has always been one of those things. I like to take breaks because it makes me miss it even more. So I want to start making more videos. I really just need more movies to come out that are high caliber experiences. That's what I'm waiting for. Come on, Hollywood. I know you guys were set back a few months with the writer's strike, but give me the shit I need. Give me what my body deserves. All right. But that's how I've been. The next one comes from Big Tony Rockets. "Hey, John. Thoughts on Into the Wild?" I have seen it once. I thought it was good. I know it's based on a true story. I vaguely remember it. I know how it ends. I liked it. It was a movie about the human element to some degree. But I remember that I never loved it. And I did watch it once, probably the same year it came out. And that's really all I remember about it. But I will say this. If you want a couple movies I've watched recently, which kind of don't relate at all to the genre of Into the Wild, but I did recently rewatch 47 Meters Down, the first one, and then immediately after that, we rewatched the movie Fall. And both are eerily similar. They follow the exact same outlines, almost to an eerie T. But with all that said, I enjoy both of them. And I'm getting to a point where if you make a movie that's technically sound, thrilling and fun, and at least 43% plausible to some degree when it comes to the survival genre. Take Me Under the Ocean or Take Me High atop of a tower. Either way, there's two women in peril, they're in danger, and one of them is probably going to die. But these are the films I enjoy. And I still enjoyed both of those movies on my second viewing. And if you haven't seen Fall, I highly recommend it. And I was watching that thinking to myself, why isn't Netflix making 10 movies a year like Fall? It's the perfect genre of movie for like a Netflix audience. And it's the type of movie where you can make it for $50 million. You could hire a couple unknown actresses or actors and it would be successful because that's the type of consumable content that gives you something, doesn't take too much out of you, and then you just go on with your life, which is what the majority of Netflix movies, at least I think in my opinion, want to be, except most of their movies cost $250 million and don't resonate at all with their audiences. So if Netflix could get into the survival genre of films, I think they would be very successful. And they did release Society of the Snow, which is a survival movie. Not exactly in the same tone as something like Fall, because Society of the Snow is actually based on a real life tragedy from the 70s. But I'm just saying, this is a genre I want more from. I know they are making a Fall too, which it's like I'm excited to see that. That's where I'm at. I don't expect much from Hollywood. Just give me my lowbrow B-rate cinema that makes my palms sweaty and I'll be content in life. So, all right. I don't even remember what the question was, to be honest with you. Okay, the next one comes from J Flicks. Favorite Matthew Vaughn film? I would probably go with, I think, Kick-Ass. I like Layer Cake. I like X-Men First Class. But Kick-Ass, at the time that came out, that was sort of like if you told me to write and direct a movie about a sort of a parody comic book film set somewhat in reality, I think Kick-Ass was the concept my brain would have come out with in 2010. I quite enjoyed Kick-Ass. I liked Aaron Taylor Johnson in the film. I loved Nicolas Cage as Big Daddy. I think Chloe Grace Moretz as Hit Girl stole that movie. And I remember even watching her performance thinking, oh man, one day she might be like the next Scarlett Johansson when she gets a bit older. And there's still maybe a possibility of that. But yeah, I love Kick-Ass. I just like the way it looks, the tone, the vibe of it. And plus, a few scenes in Kick-Ass I still stand by that are, well, kick-ass, is the scene with Big Daddy kicking ass in a warehouse, taking people out, Batman style. I always really enjoyed that scene and the music in it. Plus, McLovin, man, what more do you want? All right, the next one comes from Cody Gill, who says, all right, John, Okay, let me reread that. All right, John, hot take. Since you missed MegaCon, which classic should be remade? Who stars, who directs, and why? Well, Cody, I don't know which classic should be remade. I mean, define classic. We just talked about the film critic, and I love simple films, and I would never want this to be done. But I'm just saying, if they did, it's a little on the nose. I think you guys might see this coming, but if you could remake Taxi Driver, Now, don't make it, you could make it set modern day era. I mean, that could be interesting in itself, but something about technology and movies like that, sort of, I don't like it. I like storytelling prior to everyone having a computer and an easy way to communicate in their hand. So I would make Taxi Driver, maybe we could set it in the late 1980s, maybe early 2000s, okay? I mean, you could maybe have it star, I don't know, call me crazy, Jake Gyllenhaal. That would be one, or maybe DiCaprio, or someone of that caliber in Hollywood. And just give me a movie. Give me a movie that makes me feel something with a vigilante and some weird shit along the way. And don't pull back any punches. And hopefully A24 is the production company behind the movie. So I know it's not going to bend over for Hollywood standards nowadays. So that's what I would see. Give me a modern day telling of Taxi Driver. I mean, we sort of had that with the Joker, just putting it out there. They had the blueprint, but I'll take a new Taxi Driver. That's the kind of movie I like. Something seedy and dark, and it could take place in, I don't know, Los Angeles or something. That sounds like a movie you could probably make for like $5 million. And I wish they would make more of those types of movies. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Greg Sheen says, "Hey, Johnny boy, can you give us your best Buffalo Bill impression? It's been so long." You know, man, I kind of stopped doing those. You know, I've become more highbrow lately. And with all that said, it puts lotion on the basket. It puts lotion on the basket. It puts the fucking lotion on the basket. Ah. I'll do whatever you ask of me, because that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make and the price I'm willing to pay. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Night King 01 says, "Just watched Dune again in the theater at an IMAX release. I'm not even coming at this as someone who read the book, but just as a film. Is it me, or am I the only one that felt nothing watching it? Also, sci-fi aesthetic is so generic in this." Let me burp up my Sprite Zero and get back to this question. I know it's an unpopular opinion as well. And I might just slightly agree with you, Night King 01. I thought the first Dune, it's from a director I love, especially when it comes to sci-fi. He makes and directs smart thinking sci-fi films. And I don't know much about Dune the book. I've done some research and I've talked to people who have read it. And I have seen 90% of the 1980s Dune movie, which was just atrociously bad. But yeah, you know, I think the thing with Dune is I feel like reading the novel would be much more immersive and enjoyable than watching the movie, and I'll explain why. In the movie, most of this civilization, and it's just their personality traits, they have very monotone voices and don't really show emotion, but it's just, I get that that's the way of their race. But in a book, you can read that on the pages and you can still kind of envision it the way you want to. But when you watch it up on the big screen and you just see someone not really showing much expression, it gets hard to latch on to anyone in the movie. And that was one of the things I kind of felt with the first Dune. Most of the characters just felt bland. And I know that's the point. I get that's the purpose. And that's kind of the characteristic of who they are. But and then you just see a lot of sand, man. I don't know if that's a good complaint, but yeah, I loved it. I think cinematically, the cinematic vibe of it, the filmography, it just, the composition of the shots, it looked beautiful. It really did. But yeah, there was just that emotional beat of attachment to anything happening. It was missing. So I agree with you. But I'm looking forward to Dune 2. I actually think it might be a better movie, or at least more stuff will be happening in the film. Okay, the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, so many TikTok influencers seem like they are half a step away from being Lou Bloom on the internet, chasing clout without 1 ounce of shame. What are your thoughts, John? You know, sometimes I do scroll on TikTok, actually quite a bit, more than I want to admit. And the thing I most watch on TikTok, it's not videos of people, because I think everyone on there, for the most part, is... Watching TikTok induces a gag reflex I never knew I had. It's a weird phenomenon. I think I'm looking at the epitome of filth of society. It's sort of like having a microscopic look on the brim of a truck stop toilet seat and watching all the bacteria live their lives. And that's kind of what TikTok is sometimes. But hey, listen, hang on a second. Sometimes you find informative, fun shit on TikTok. But what I mostly watch are just screen grabs from Reddit posts. And for example, the first one that you read is, it'll say something like, what is one unethical life hack that you found? And you swipe over and there's a whole bunch of answers to it. And they just screenshot Reddit forums and take the best answers. Pretty genius TikTok idea if you want some easy cash and some easy clout. Just screenshot shit from Reddit and make an account about it. You'll probably get 10,000 million followers on TikTok. I don't know what that equates to in life or how that accreditates you as a person. But hey, if you can make a few dollars, go try that out. That's the best business advice I can give you today. So what do I think about TikTok? Sometimes I just look at it and I think I'm afraid to get old in life because this is the society that I'm going to have to live with. I don't know. It's getting terrifying. But the question is, and if you're watching, has society always been like this? Or is it with the technological advancements and social media, we're now just seeing that side of society that everyone used to hide in their bathroom? I don't know. That's a great question. Okay. The next one comes from Better Call Maul, who says, how can Jahns make the same video for 16 years? Did he get a lobotomy? Laugh out loud. Jeremy Jahns, man. I mean, he has been making 5-minute jump cut videos in front of a green screen that he makes red and sometimes blue. But hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. He has a formula. It's working. Why change it? I'm almost envious of that format. 5-minute video, jump cuts, just do it in front of a green screen. You don't have to have an entire studio with lights and backdrops and movies and like, I'm almost envious of that. And I have met Jeremy Jahns a couple times, and he did say something. He said something to the effect of, why work harder than you have to, or something like that. And yeah, it makes sense. I catch his videos every once in a while, but for me, the most interesting videos that he ever made, in my opinion, were sort of the videos that he didn't make in front of his green screen. I thought some of his vlog videos were interesting. I remember he did a series where he sort of, every day he would record part of his day and combine it into one large video and kind of give a breakdown of his life throughout the month. And that was, I think, the most interesting version of him I had ever seen. And that's sort of the style of video I enjoy more. You know, I've always enjoyed where you don't look at someone standing in front of a green screen talking about movies. I've always liked the guy who talks about a movie as he's walking around his house or driving in his car or just casually talking to you. I don't like jump cuts every 4 seconds. So those are my thoughts on Jeremy Jahns. I hope that was sufficient. Okay, the next one comes from Chad Hagen, who says, did you think there are any movies today, or at least 5 or 10 years, that have the same impact as movies like The Sandlot or Home Alone do? That is a phenomenal question, and when I get super introspective every once in a while, actually probably every other night of my life, it's almost exhausting at this point, but I have thought that exact same question to myself. What films have had an impact or resonated with me truly in the last 10 years? And I think there might only be a handful, maybe less. And do I think we've had anything along the lines of Home Alone or The Sandlot when it comes to kids films. I don't know. I don't think we have. I really don't think we've had one of those classics when it comes to that genre. It's almost like when it comes to kids movies nowadays, they treat their audiences much dumber than they used to. It's like rather than try to make a movie for an 8 to 12-year-old kid, they just aim at like 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds. You know, there's nothing for like that age range that could just, you know, when you're like a preteen, just stick with you, like Home Alone or Sandlot. But no, if you just want the answer is what films have had an impact on me outside of maybe that genre, really since I would say Whiplash, maybe Nightcrawler, which coincidentally came out the same year. I'm sure there's maybe a couple other films in there. But yeah, there hasn't been many. And I would like to ask you guys this question. What films over the last 10 years have truly resonated with you and had an impact on your life and made you feel something? You know, outside of comic book movies. We can't use comic book movies for this. But let me know. I'll just answer in the normal chat and I'll try to read some of them. Give me some thought-provoking titles. I'm curious what you guys are thinking right now. Okay, the next one comes from Bro Creative, who says, "Hey John, can't stay for the whole stream." Well, that's okay, buddy. I'll catch it on the treadmill tomorrow. I love when people burn carbs and watch my beautiful face. All right, let's keep going. Only way to make cardio bearable, haha, that and Batman fight scenes. Abso-fucking-lutely, man. Listen, you get on that cardio treadmill tomorrow, and I want you to watch. I was going to say something really silly. I was going to say watch Batman and Robin, because that'll make you want to run away, but I don't know. I do often listen to the Dark Knight Rises Hans Zimmer score in my car, and there's some remixes of it you can find on Spotify, which are kind of cool, but nothing just makes me drive smoother and faster and more like a vigilante through red lights than that soundtrack. Okay, let's see. We got Videodrome, The Hangover, Nocturnal Animals. What else do we got? Whiplash and Nightcrawler, and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. James Doshier says Superbad for me. Well, Superbad came out in 2007. I do quite enjoy Superbad. I would say it's one of my favorite comedies. And if you could pick a comedy movie that has always super resonated with me and kind of, I would say like 80% was my high school life to some degree, Superbad is very relatable. Just the way they joke with each other and banter as friends, that was a very similar dynamic that I had with some of my friends. Good times, man. Feels like a lifetime ago. It's weird. The older you get, it's sort of like you look back on parts of your life like they were prequels in a franchise, and you go, "Oh my God, that really happened." But it feels so segmented. I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting a little nostalgic, and a tear's going to trickle out of my eye. I just missed you guys. That's all. I just missed you. I'm glad you're here tonight. All 230 of you beautiful bastards. Thank you for joining me. You guys are the true ones. All right. Non-Fat Matt says, was just recently on a flight and a lady next to me was watching a movie on the plane while playing a game on her phone. So she would only glance up every 5 minutes or so and even switch the movie about 30 minutes in without even watching it. Insanity. Yeah, maybe the movie was just comfort food. It is interesting to get on an airplane and look around and see what movies people are watching. That definitely is a really good social experiment sometimes. And I do recall one time, my favorite thing to do on this flight, and I think it was maybe a 4-hour flight from Vegas, There was a dude watching a rated R movie, and that's fine, whatever, but it did have a couple nude scenes in it, which I was surprised they put on the airplane, but nevertheless, the most beautiful thing about this entire experience was the guy was sitting here, I'm sitting right back here in across the aisle, and in between us, right in front of me, is probably like a 7-year-old little boy. And every time one of those nude scenes would come on, or a titty would flop out, excuse my French, that kid would just instant turn like that. It didn't even look human how quick this little kid's head would turn, man. It was like on a pivot. I just remember watching that thinking, this is a beautiful thing I'm witnessing right now. I should have recorded it. Damn it! It would have made a good TikTok video, and I could have been TikTok famous. Okay. All right. The White Skull says American Psycho. Yeah, I was thinking for movies in the last 10 years that had an impact on you, not of all time. All right. The next one comes from Does Ass Scraps, who says, what is the difference in Alec Baldwin / Michael Massey, is it Massey situations? Where do you rank The Crow among comic movies? Who's Michael Massey? Is he, I mean, did he accidentally kill someone with a gun on set, or did that happen on The Crow? Listen, I'll chime in on the Alec Baldwin situation. So if you don't know, Alec Baldwin is starring in a new movie that was a Western or something, and they utilized guns in a scene. And one of the prop guns turned out not to be a real prop gun, but in fact it was, or at least it could shoot a projectile somehow accidentally. Either way, a somewhat real gun made its way to a film set. Alec Baldwin shot the gun and killed an actor, okay? And listen, I think charging the guy who is the actor in Hollywood who has used 1,000 prop guns at some point, if you pick that up on a Hollywood set, you're an actor, you're not an ammunition expert, that's not your department, that's the props department. There's 1,000 other people that should have checked on that, and the actor is not one of them. So I think it was an accident, and I think it's scary that even when it's an honest accident, that you can be charged with manslaughter. I think that's terrifying. And so you're telling me all those action movies with Arnold and Commando, when he picked up a fucking bazooka and shot it at someone, and the pyro guy makes an explosion go off 300 feet away, you're telling me if he picked up a real bazooka and shot it and someone died, he'd go to prison for that? I don't know. I think it's a fine line there. I think a complete accident that's clearly an honest mistake, I don't know if he should be the one being charged with it. But then again, we live in a day and age where it's you're no longer safe if you're a celebrity. It's kind of a weird time. You can be put out, not put out, but I was going to say almost, celebrities at one point and powerful people used to be safe from this scrutiny of the law. And it's kind of weird. Things are changing. I don't know. But yeah, Baldwin probably won't be in another movie anytime soon. The 50% Doctor Who podcast says the WWE Chamber next week is in my city of Perth, Australia. That's pretty cool, man. I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be in like a 60,000 person stadium, 2 elimination chambers. I don't know what the main event is yet. There's nothing that just takes me to a happy place more so than watching WWE lately. I think it's getting far more interesting. I love the drama surrounding the real life controversy. I think it feels like there's a pulse again. I'm not talking about the news concerning McMahon. I'm talking about like TKO buying them and switching things up, and it's just going a more sports-like direction, which I think is much needed to blur the line between what's real and what's not. And I like it. And I know it's not real, but I enjoy the technical aspects of it, the theatricality, and just the athleticism. It's live action stunt work with a story. You know, it's like watching in a way, like a live action comic book series to some degree. All right, Dudes and Baby Oil. Okay, what more do you want? But yeah, I'll definitely be watching Elimination Chamber. James Dosher says, what would you do if you were forced to watch a 24-hour marathon of Steven Seagal movies? I guess I would just embrace Steven Seagal movies. I think the earlier ones are quite watchable. It's just when Steven Seagal got really bloated like a baked potato with a little rat tail ponytail that looked all wet and slicked like he sprayed WD-40 on it and stuck his head in the deep fryer at McDonald's. And then have you ever seen Steven Seagal run? It's truly a sight to behold. I can't explain it. Just type in Steven Seagal running. It's terrifying shit, man. All right, the next one comes from Carter Lovejoy, who says, my favorite part of Madame Web was when she said it's webbing time and webbed all over the place. I hope it's on par with Catwoman 2004 and Elektra 2005, where it's so bad, it's hilarious. It's one of those things that I don't know if they had the foresight or at least the balls to make Madame Web so bad that it can be enjoyable. And I wish they would have just went with that. But now it's just accidentally going to be bad. And rather than be this unintentionally funny movie, it's just going to be this boring mess. But anyway, don't you think it's really odd how Sony made this film? They had all this information written on a paper, right? And then they said, okay, this is how much it's going to cost. Who are we going to cast as Madame Web? I don't know. How about the chick from 50 Shades of Grey? I just don't understand how they thought this was a good idea. At what point did they think this was a good idea? And did anyone think it was a bad idea? And if they knew it wasn't going to be good, why are they making this? I want to know why they're making this movie. I just want to know where their mindset is. I really would. There's something there's a conspiracy theory behind this. Top 5 Halloween theme movies. And thank you for all 47 questions right there. Really, it comes down to Halloween, the first one. I think Hocus Pocus is one of those define the horror genre. I definitely say Dream Warriors is definitely up there. But yeah, the horror films for me, there's some I love for a couple years, and then there's a new one that's introduced. I would just say this to sum up my thoughts on Halloween movies, or at least the theme of Halloween movies. I would like more in the tone of something like It Follows. That eerie, kind of bleak, a little bit of a slow burn vibe. I kind of like that for my horror genre nowadays. So, all right, the next one comes from Big Tony Rockets, who says, what is a movie that always hits you in the feels? The ending of Dead Poets Society always gets me. Yeah, I'll say even movies like Stand By Me kind of always hit me at the end a little bit, because it's one of those movies, the older you get, the ending of Stand By just kind of hit you right in the gut a little bit. Because when I was younger watching it, I thought, oh man, he lost his friend at the end of the movie. That sucks. You lose childhood friends, they go in and out of your life. And then you watch it when you get older, and this guy is sort of recounting the events of his life, his childhood. And it's like, I do the same thing these days. And it's one day you have it, one day you don't. And so, yeah, I think something like Stand By Me is just one of the many movies. But all right, the next one comes from Optimistic Forever, who has become a member. Yay! Thank you, Optimistic Forever. The White Skull says, are you going to see Madame Web? We talked about that quite a lot. I probably will. Jim Fox says The Green Mile is a movie that had an impact on him. John Coffey liked to drink, not spelled the same. Mr. Django, go down to Mouse City. I love me some Green Mile, man. All right. The next one comes from By the way, I think I'm about 23 minutes behind on your super chat question, so I will talk faster. I am sorry. But thanks to all 298 of you guys hanging out tonight. How's it going? How is life? Thanks for joining me. I was feeling a little bit bored, a little bit lonely, but I am wearing pants tonight, if that makes anyone feel more secure. But with all that said, let's go to the question. I recently rewatched Matt Reeves' Planet of the Apes trilogy. So glad the Batman films are being made by him. Which one in the trilogy is your favorite, Johnny? Excited for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Oh, yeah, I hope we talk more about some of the Super Bowl trailers. More specifically, Twisters. But yeah, I like Matt Reeves quite a bit. When it comes to the Planet of the Apes films, honestly, I think I enjoyed the first one the most. I liked little young baby Caesar. I was like, oh man, I hope this guy's okay. And I felt something for that character. And I thought the second installment and the third one were fine movies. I just think I enjoyed the first one, which I would have considered that's the origin story. Now, the new one, which is taking place thousands of years after the first films, I think it's kind of cool. We're finally getting to a Planet of the Apes. I think it'll be a good movie just to kind of turn off your brain and go look at the CGI monkeys riding a horse. Hey, that's fine. I'll go watch it. Is it one of my most anticipated movies of the year? Probably not, but I am kind of looking forward to it because I'm at a point where it feels like it's been so long since we've had a somewhat decent spectacle movie. But yeah, to answer your question, I like Matt Reeves. I'm glad he's the guy directing this version of Batman thus far because he does care about characters in movies first and foremost. So yeah, I would agree with you. Big Tony Rockets has become a member. Yay! Sorry for the very weird yays tonight. Just feeling a little fantastical is all. Optimistic Forever says, within the last 10 years would be impossible for me. Yeah, there's not many movies over the last 10 years that just gave me everything I ever thought I would want, outside of a handful. And I was hoping you guys would brainstorm with me and come up with some really, really good ones that I'm not thinking of. Best time travel movie of all time is Interstellar? Yeah, besides Back to the Future. I mean, but Interstellar, the visuals are fantastic. They had an original script to Interstellar, or at least it was rumored, or I read something on Reddit that was a complete fabricated lie, but I think it was somewhat real, where they had the ending of Interstellar where they actually find an ice-like planet with intelligence on it. And that sounded kind of cool. Okay, the next one comes from Mr. Santanic's Nerdy Collecting. Oh, Mr. Santastic's Nerdy Collecting. Mr. Satanics. Sorry. Okay, hey, John. Do you still enjoy the movie theater experience, or do you prefer watching movies at home? Since COVID, I feel like I prefer home. Yeah, listen. There's nothing I enjoy more than the perfect movie theater experience where the theater's nice, it's inviting, the picture quality, the audio quality is good. I don't mind people in the cinema, but I like good crowds with etiquette. Because when you're watching a comedy movie, hey, when you hear other people laughing, it sort of enhances it. Absolutely. But those experiences are very few and far between. And you never know what you're going to get when you go to the movie theater. It's like Forrest Gump's mama always said. But I do like the cinematic experience at the theater, yes. But I have gotten so finicky lately with my comfortability. I enjoy watching movies at home on my 83-inch OLED, reclining in my seats, eating snacks, taking bathroom breaks whenever I want with the surround sound cranked to 10. So if you gave me, for example, the brand new, let's just pick, if you could hand me a 4K copy of Furiosa, for example, and said, John, do you want to watch this in an empty auditorium, or do you want to watch this at home in 4K? I would probably say let's watch it at home on 4K because I don't have to wear pants and my popcorn doesn't cost $17.99 for a bucket. So, I hope I answered your question. It's not that I hate movie theaters. I will go to the movie theater if that is the only option to see a new movie I truly want to see. Or maybe something I don't want to see, like Madame Web, which I really wish I could watch at home. But occasionally I like getting out of the house and going to the theater. I do. Okay, the next one comes from Joe Nilsson, who says, what do you think of the Deadpool movies? I just rewatched them. They are two of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah, the first Deadpool and the second one, I like them. I like both movies. I don't know if I love them. But I do like them. I like Ryan Reynolds. I think they do exactly what they should. My only holdup with the first movie is I wish it would have had a little bit more money. Just something about it visually. I think they could have made it a little more stylistically interesting at times. And it feels like they're sort of holding back a little bit. I don't know if that was a budgetary restraint or maybe it was the director's vision for the movie. But yeah, I like the Deadpool movies. I'm looking forward to the new one. I think the fact that it'll actually be a team-up movie with Hugh Jackman and as Wolverine and sort of like this buddy cop vibe, if you will, that intrigues me. That's exactly what I want to see. And plus, Wolverine's wearing his damn yellow suit finally. Please, thank you. That's what I've needed. And if ever it made sense, it was for this. The one thing I do want to say about that Super Bowl trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine is Deadpool's always been meta and breaks the fourth wall, but man, they are really just, I like that they're announcing, hey, this is the first Disney Deadpool movie. And that's kind of funny. I like that. So I'm really hoping they have some surprises in this movie. Like maybe if they have a multiverse of different Wolverines, maybe different casting choices you could show a clip of. Just, I don't know. They'll never do it, but imagine like Mel Gibson showing up as Wolverine or something. I just think that'd be really awesome. Okay. The next one comes from... Okay, here we are. A Clue says, hey, John, I need a movie recommendation for tonight. Doesn't have to be a newer movie, but have you recently watched or have something that comes to mind? Well, I've talked about it a few times tonight. If you've never seen the movie Fall, I think that's kind of a cool, easy hour-and-a-half movie to get through that doesn't take the wind out of your sails. I did recommend Society of the Snow a while back to watch on Netflix as well. I'm sure there's something else I'm not thinking of right now. I've watched some new movies lately. I cannot recall what I watched. Oh, I recently rewatched Jurassic Park on 4K. I'm sure you've already seen that, but that's a movie that makes you go to bed peacefully. Just thinking about Jeff Goldblum's hairy chest. And by the way, speaking of that, the reason I watched it was I built a new shelf over here with some really cool movie shit on it, and I put all my steelbooks under here to clear up some space back there on the other Blu-ray shelves. I was running out of real estate. But I put up my YouTube play buttons. I got a Jurassic Park theme shelf and a Back to the Future and Jaws theme shelf as well. But you know what? I might just give you guys a room tour video. I might be doing that. And I'm waiting on one more cool thing I'm going to hang on my wall. There's just one more thing I'm waiting on. So, but yeah, watch Jurassic Park, man. Or watch Fall. All right. The next one comes from Carter Lovejoy, who says, since The Abyss and True Lies are finally coming to 4K and Blu-ray soon, what are some movies you think are long overdue for Blu-ray and 4K releases? David Fincher's Panic Room is one of them. Excuse me. Well, it seems like we're sort of almost getting everything I've ever wanted on 4K. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that these 4K transfers of these great iconic films are exactly how I want them to be. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, what the fuck were you thinking, James Cameron? But we're getting a lot of movies on 4K. I have Point Break on 4K now. That's kind of cool. I would like Nightcrawler on 4K. I might like a better version of Forrest Gump on 4K that doesn't look DNR'd to hell, but yeah, we're getting all kinds of stuff on 4K. If you give it time, I think everything that we want will eventually hit 4K. But yeah, Nightcrawler is like the next one I would like. I'm sure there's a classic film or catalog title or something I'm not thinking of, but I feel like I almost own everything I want to on 4K at this point, outside of a handful of movies. The next one comes from, and by the way, thanks for the question, Carter. Rex says, have any movies inspired / motivated you? There's been tons of movies that have motivated me, especially if it comes to being inspired to do something with your life and think bigger and think outside of the box and don't let the corrupt system keep you down and don't take the injustice. You know, something like even, and I know it's cliche, it's stupid, it's cheesy, and I know. But something about rewatching Batman Begins every time makes me remember why I love it so much. And it's not just because it's a Batman movie, but the fact that they really showcase that this dude who witnessed his parents being murdered took up the mantle and became something more. And it wasn't just the billionaire who trained for a few weeks and became Batman. No. This dude went to other countries. He was a thief. He learned to starve himself. He went to prison. He knows what it's like on the other side of the equation. So I just like that version so much. And it kind of like, I was like, if he can be Batman, so can I, or I can do something with my life. But having rich billionaire parents would be helpful. Yes, it would. But as far as motivation goes, sometimes when it comes to like working out, or when it came to working out back in the day, I would just watch the first Rocky movie or give me any training montage from any of the Rocky movies. And it just inspires you to get off your ass and you want to go sweat. I could go watch one of those montages right now and want to get up and do some jumping jacks. Probably not right now. I feel like I'd have an aneurysm and just tip over. But yeah, there's been many. I like movies of like characters who find themselves and they explore the what's possible in life and start a new chapter. I like movies like that. Even movies, I'll tell you one movie that sort of inspired me was Castaway. And I love the concept of that. I love a story of a guy trapped on an island with only his own wits and skill to carry him to safety. And once he gets out of this predicament, everything in his life has changed. And my favorite part of Castaway is at the very end, he literally finds himself at a crossroads in life. And he would not have gotten there if it wasn't for that rough patch. So it's one of those movies. I like it. I like something about that just inspires me in a weird way. And it always inspired me to maybe don't be complacent. And, things get difficult, but you can survive. And if you do, there's a new way in life, a new path to be held. So those are a couple movies. Outside of those, I don't know. American Psycho inspired me in a weird way. And we'll just leave it there. Members Only says, have you watched Employee of the Month from 2006? The Dane Cook movie, that piece of shit with Jessica Simpson? Yes, I do remember Employee of the Month. Oddly enough, the concept of the movie sounded really fun and something right up my alley because I love comedy movies set in the workplace location. I just think it's perfection and relatable and subtle and down to earth, and that's the type of comedy movie I like. Something that you can relate to. For example, Employee of the Month, Waiting. There's one more I'm thinking of. Oh yeah, Clerks. But except those are good movies. Employee of the Month is an atrocity. That's terrible. But I did like how it takes place in a big box store like Costco or Sam's Club. I thought that was a really cool setting, but it was a Dane Cook movie. What more can we say? It was doomed. And the love interest was once again Jessica Simpson. So, but if you haven't seen Waiting, that's a truly underrated comedy movie. Highly recommend it. Funny How says, hey John, I'm currently writing my first screenplay. I'm on my third draft right now. I'm a former military and it's about the hypocrisies of war on both sides. Basically, think Apocalypse Now, The Deer Hunter, The Hurt Locker, all blended into one. That sounds interesting, man. That sounds like a cool movie. I can see that being dark. Does it tell a story from one of the soldiers, or does it have multiple viewpoints in the story? Sounds cool, man. I like it. I can almost see the style of it being like a modern, sort of like a Hurt Locker style. I think that would work for what you're doing there. Nice. Well, good luck with that. Night King of One says, now let me complain about Dune as a fan of the book. Okay. As faithful as it is, I think the feel is completely off. The book had more futuristic mixed with 19th century Napoleonic way of society. Also, all the color and a lot of the world building is excised. Yeah. I mean, I'll just read your complaints, I guess. But hey, I don't completely disagree with what we're saying here. Also, Night King of One back again says, the first thing about all... We're back to Alec Baldwin. I knew we'd come back to this. The first thing about Alec Baldwin is that revolvers don't need to be adapted for blank rounds, so when they are shooting them, it's a real functioning revolver, just blank ammo. Someone managed to get a real bullet in there. Yeah, like I said, if Alec Baldwin didn't know it was in there and didn't put it in there, and he's an actor hired to pick up a prop gun, which he assumes is a prop gun, and shoot it, and everyone on set was okay with this, including the actor who may have been injured or died, then that's clearly what the intention of it was. That would be like... That's like, I don't know, man. That's like going to a kid's birthday party, and this might be the worst analogy I've ever given, but that's like going to a kid's birthday party, someone handing you a Nerf gun and saying, hey, go out and back and play with the kids, and you realize it's a machine gun. Oh my God. I didn't know. It was spray painted neon green. So did I just talk about machine gunning down children at a birthday party? I think I did. John, you're going to get canceled. Anyway, I hope that answered your question about Alec Baldwin. Can we go with the next question, please, immediately? Let me take a drink of this Sprite Zero. They're listening. Okay, here we go. Akai Nai, how's it going, buddy? Hi, John. Good to see you. Do any of your theaters serve actual good food? A few do here in Hawaii, and I find it very convenient. To be honest with you, I would probably never get hot food from a theater again after working at a movie theater. Yeah, those hot dogs, man, just the way people handle them, they're in a dirty microwave, and they're just microwaved hot dogs. And the pizza always gave me like I will just say some... it gave me diarrhea, damn it, okay? It gave me runny, pudding-like diarrhea. Our pizza's at Regal movie theater. But anyway, at the Regal theater. It's late. What was the question again? Oh, yes, good food at a theater. No, none of ours around here give you good food. I wish they did. I wish they had like a gourmet chef in a kitchen somewhere and I could eat it. But then again, there's something really off-putting about eating food, like really good food, in a dark room. I have to kind of see what I'm eating to enjoy it. For some odd reason, it's a visual sense that I have. I need to look at the food I'm eating with good light. So I don't know. The only thing I want to eat in a dark room is like salty sweets, or that's about it. It's kind of a weird concept, turning off all the lights and eating a hot dog, isn't it? There's a lot of trust that goes into that. Let's go to the next question. Don't unsubscribe, please. Oh, no. All right. August Babington says, would you rather be put in the ankle lock by Kurt Angle or the sharpshooter by Bret Hart? Why not the crossface by Chris Benoit? I would rather be put in the mandible claw by Mankind because I just want his fingers lodged down my throat. Probably the sharpshooter by Bret Hart. I think it's just more iconic, but I'd rather be stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Big Tony Rocket says, thoughts on The Rock's heel turn. I think WWE had to make a pivot I think they changed kind of what they were going to do. And I think they played into it beautifully and made everything far more interesting. And if this was on purpose, then they're geniuses. If this was an accident, they did the best thing they could with The Rock turning heel. I think this is the best thing they could do. I truly do. I think this will make everyone come out better in the end. I think this makes for a much more interesting show. And it's good to see The Rock actually taking a risk again and not just wanting to be the likable guy. I like it. I think it's what's best for business, as they say. So I love it. I think The Rock's always been a better heel as well. The Rock being a heel is more genuine. I truly feel that way. The next one comes from Joel Nilsson, who says, "Hey, John, what is the best time travel movie besides Back to the Future?" Oh, gosh. Time Cop. I'm just kidding. Stargate, I quite enjoyed. But beyond Back to the Future, the truth is, then you have The Time Traveler, which I think most people would say the book is significantly better than the movie. I thought the movie got weird by the third act with the weird alien people that live underground. I thought it just, but I love the time travel genre. I wish we had more movies in it that really, really stood out. I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking. Oh, what about, I know the best time travel movie of all time. What about A Kid in King Arthur's Court, huh? No? Nobody? What do you guys think is the best time travel movie besides Back to the Future? I mean, I know you could technically say Interstellar to some degree here. That would be a quality movie. But I'm trying to think of something else in the genre that really sticks out. Yeah, feel free to chime in. I'll read some of your responses. Night King 01 says, I enjoy some of Seagal's early films. Oh, Seagal. I said Seagal. I enjoy some of Seagal's early films, like Out for Justice. It's ridiculously violent. William Forsythe is the villain, just going crazy. And again, the violence is pure 90s over the top. What is it called? Oh, Out for Justice. I think I've seen Out for Justice. What is the movie that takes place? There's a Steven Seagal movie. Maybe it came out in the late 90s where it takes place in like West Virginia. And there's like hillbillies and shit in it. What is that called? Is that Out for Justice? I'm sure 90% of Seagal's movies from the 90s have the exact same plot. Maybe a slightly different location. Stargate's not time travel. Well, it is in a sense, in a way. They travel in time. Do they not? Terminator. Oh my gosh. What was I thinking? Yes, Terminator. Yes, Terminator 1 and 2 I would consider really good time travel movies. But I'm thinking of something more, a bit more adventurous. Let's go with more of an adventure route. Oh, we got Tenet in there. Okay. X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, if you want to pick a comic book movie that time travels, I know someone might say Endgame, which I do quite enjoy, but I think X-Men Days of Future Past might be a better time traveling comic book movie. Yeah, that's a good pick. 12 Monkeys. I have not seen 12 Monkeys in a long time. I've been meaning to rewatch it at some point. Fire Down Below. I don't know if that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe it is. Hot Tub Time Machine. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we're due for another good time travel flick. I don't know. What about you? And I know it's not technically time travel, but there are different times happening with some traveling sort of in between. But the movie Frequency, for example, not necessarily a time travel movie, but in a way, it alters the events of time. So just putting that out there. Yeah, Deja Vu would count, technically, yes. Edge of Tomorrow. Great pick, yes. You got it, man. I would say Edge of Tomorrow is probably one of the best time travel movies in the last 10 years. Yeah, I loved it. Where's our Edge of Tomorrow 2? Where's that shit at? Come on. Okay, the next one comes from Bakatir, who says, Godzooks, Batman, it's been that long, 35 months. I hope 2 cows and twisters. If not, we riot. Bakatir, it has been 35 months, and thank you for sticking around. It's been a long ride, but thanks for holding on tight. Yeah, in Twisters, the trailer was okay. It looks like a fun B-rate type of movie experience. I like Glenn Powell, but I know I guess this is a sequel, but it sort of looks like if it's a sequel, they're recapturing the exact same vibe and tone and story with a slightly updated version on storm chasing. So that's what they're doing. They're basically remaking the movie / rebooting it, but really it's more just a remake, but they're pretending like it's a continuation to some degree. It's a copy and paste, but with slightly different coloring. I don't know. I'll watch it, but if it looks like they have, for example, the dude's driving the same red Ford pickup truck like Bill Paxton's character drove. They have another version of Dorothy that flies up into the air. So I don't know if they're going to tread the exact same territory. I do hope that they recast Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, though. They get some kind of weird, kooky storm chaser guy. It's called the Suck Zone. Okay, let's go to the next question here. Big Tony Rocket says, not quite 10 years, but Prisoners stuck with me. Yeah, Prisoners is, I think, one of the better movies of the last, I guess, almost 10 years now, right? Yeah, I would say that's one of the best cinematic achievements in my opinion. The movie Prisoners, and that is a movie that really stuck with me because I put myself in the position of Hugh Jackman in that movie, and I think if I was in that position and I truly assumed someone had abducted my kids, I might do the same thing. And I know someone watching is going to say, John, let justice handle it. I am justice. No, but you got to put yourself in that position. What would you really do? And I like movies that do that. They test your ethics and your moral compass. What would you really do in that position? So would I lock someone up in a bathtub? Yes, I probably would. I don't know. Big Tony Rocket says, I know you are a big fan of Parasite. Have you... Oh, yeah, Parasite. That's another movie from the last 10 years that gave me what I needed. But anyway, have you seen Memoirs of a Murderer from the same director, dark true story thriller similar to Zodiac? I have not. I did not get around to watching that. I had a list written out from some of his movies, and he has a new one coming out with Robert Pattinson called what is it called? It's a name of a guy. It's based on a novel. Mickey 612 or something, some numbers. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that movie. Quite a bit. Okay, the next one comes from Michael Entity, who says, do you think the new Crow movie with Bill Skarsgård is going to be a total disaster? Do you think it will be an actual surprise? Well, the fact that they cast Bill Skarsgård is really an interesting choice, I will say. I don't know if I buy him being this badass because I've seen him as a creepy clown so many times. I'm hoping that they have the money and the time and the craftsmanship that it could have. I hope it doesn't just feel like this cheap MTV music video type remake. I really hope it has, and I hate to keep using this as an example, but I hope it has sort of like an A24 vibe. Like they focus on the character and the human element of that story and don't over stylize everything. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't want it to be like Punisher Warzone. That's what I'm saying. Justin McKay says, did you ever get the chance to watch the movie Dream Scenario? Nick Cage enters people's dreams, and it's awesome. Yeah, it's basically Nick Cage's Freddy Krueger, in a way, right? No, I have not seen it yet. I did request a 4K Blu-ray copy of that just recently, and as soon as that bad boy comes in, I will watch Dream Scenario. I promise you. I have not seen it yet. The White Skull says, have you ever been to Colorado? Have I ever been? I don't think I've been to Colorado. I've not been there. I'd like to go. I know one side's flat, the other side's rocky. So I'd probably go to the rockier side. But yeah, I would like to go. Skylar Wheelock says, what is the best movie you've ever seen where landscape plays a vital role in the story? That's a great question. What's your favorite landscape movie? Well, I think, well, I don't know if it's technically, well, it is landscape. I think Titanic's landscape was a pivotal part of the film. But also, you know, there's movies like I mentioned Castaway where there's an island. There's even landscape that plays a part in movie scenes every once in a while that plays a vital part of it. For some odd reason, my brain just went to like, you could say Jaws, for example, out there on the ocean in an old rickety boat. I think that's a good time. I have a thing with boats, I guess. I don't know. What's a movie with landscape that truly moved all of you? That's my question. Yeah, The Abyss, great. We could go to Avatar even. 127 hours. Now that's a great answer. Yeah, it's stuck in a canyon, just a boulder. Can I be honest with you? When I watch 127 hours, that would just be my luck if I went hiking in the desert. I'm telling you right now. If I went hiking in the desert, that would happen to me. I just feel like I would have to be put in that situation. And I love it. Okay, the next one, one landscape I always kind of enjoyed watching it on film, of course, is something like The Shawshank Redemption. I just think characters being confined to one place for the entirety of a film is so intriguing to me. Like the subculture of that was so intriguing to me. So like The Shawshank Redemption, I thought the prison, the landscape of that was kind of really intriguing. I love, you know what it is? I love when characters are confined in one situation. That's fascinating to me. That's the kind of story I enjoy. Okay. The next question comes from, I'll tell you, you know what? The most important movie landscape of all time, it was Buffalo Bill's basement. Can we all agree on that? Okay. The 50% Doctor Who podcast says, John, your streams inspire and mean the world to me. Well, thanks for that, man. Well, thank you for that. Hey, if you guys can listen to this and hang out for a couple of hours and you want to hear some guy who's a little bit weird, a little bit quirky, maybe slightly annoying, but just hear some casual thoughts about movies and life, well, you came to the right place because that's what you're going to get. So, and for all of you who enjoy listening to that or watching that, I do appreciate it. It does mean the world to me. Okay. The next one comes from Ideal Wrestling, who says, how many milligrams do you prefer when you're having a fun time, Mr. Flick? That's a great question to ask Leonardo DiCaprio, because did you see the clips from the Super Bowl? He's all like this. It's just like, what's going on down there, Leo? What are you doing? Snorting a pet stick? I don't think so, man. Maybe he just has a sinus infection. I'm sure that's what his I can't talk right now. Publicist would say. Publicist. Why can I not talk right now? This medication's really getting to me. Okay. The next one comes from Elliot Cecil, who says, do back exercises help scoliosis? I think stretching definitely would. I think building up maybe your back muscles would only help if you have some spinal issues. Absolutely. Yeah, I would say so, because for many years I still have a really bad sciatica. And I'm telling you, I have a bulged or herniated disc, or some nerve in my spine is compressed. I can tell you that right now. And for many years, I sort of babied my back because I didn't want to hurt it and inflame my... I don't have scoliosis. I have sciatica. I never wanted to test fate So I never worked out my lower back. And I am telling you right now that weakened my lower back. And by weakening my lower back, it made it more susceptible to being injured and sore just because it didn't have the strength it needed. So the best thing I did was starting to work that out and stretching. So absolutely, just stretch often and just avoid any inflammation. Obviously, I don't just talk about movies. I give medical advice now. So there you are. Okay. I'm barely a guy who talks about movies. I'm definitely not a doctor. Okay. The next one comes from the Middlehead Jedi, who says, John, longtime fan here. You once replied to a Snapchat of mine years ago and told me I look like Jason Seagal, laughing my ass off. Do you enjoy Radiohead? Radiohead's cool. Not one of my favorite bands, but they're not bad. They play they play oddly enough on the radio often. But I don't know if I remember that. I maybe I do remember that. Well, thanks for that, man. Thank you. Do you still look like Jason Seagal? Okay. Joey Ruiz, Lord of the Rings, says, how do you like One Godzilla? What's your grade? Oh, Godzilla -1. Sorry. I have not seen it yet. I know. I'm sorry. Please forgive my sins against humanity. I will see it. I just have not yet. I was sort of savoring the flavor for that 4K release. I just didn't feel like going to the theater to see it. I know. It's weird, but I'll check it out. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Elliot Cecil says, another Valentine's Day spent alone. Oh, no, man. See, what I was going to do was I was going to do this live show on Valentine's Day so we could all hang out together, right? You don't got a date? Let FlickPig take you where the stars don't shine. That sounds weird. Shh, don't tell anybody. But I was thinking about doing this on Valentine's Day. For all you pathetic losers out there. No, I just thought it would be fun. You know, if you can't go out on Valentine's Day, why not spend time with a guy like me and we can talk about dick and fart jokes in movies? Okay, let's go to the next question here. Guys, if you're single, just start swiping right on Tinder. You'll get something. Good luck. All right, the next one comes from Joel Nielsen, who says, if you could live in one movie universe, what would it be? You know, I've gotten that question a few times, and the truth is, it would have to be almost a utopia-like place, because in most movie universes sort of suck ass, do they not? There's always something chaotic or bad happening. I'm trying to think of a movie universe where I'd really, truly want to live there and live my life. And I'm super, like, it's like, if you go too futuristic, every movie in the future kind of, like, society is not at a good point. It does not seem. There might be some advancements in technology that are nice, but it's like I can barely afford to live now. What's the economy going to be like in 80 years? That's scary to me. And I think, well, maybe the movie universe of like Jurassic Park. It seems like everything outside of those islands is functioning okay, except I would just live in a universe where there's dinosaurs still walking around and roaming on some island, which I can't explore or look at, which would be really boring and useless. So the question is, I don't know which movie universe I would pick. That's a really difficult question. I feel like I would have to get really introspective for about 7 hours and really explore that. You know what it is? I think I would like to live in the same universe where there's truly a guy named Batman fighting for injustice in a huge metropolis somewhere. And he's doing it. Somehow it's working. I think living in that type of universe would give me real hope. Because if I lived in a universe with the likes of another superhero like Superman, that would terrify me. I think there's these extraterrestrial beings from a planet called Krypton or wherever, and they could murder us at any point, and they have godlike powers. That's terrifying. But the thought of a dude who just happens to be wealthy fighting crime. That's inspiring to me. Because which movie universe, even based on comic books, would you want to live in? You don't want to pick the Avengers. There's some fucking alien dude coming down to Earth who can snap his fingers and just make us all disappear and cease to exist. It's that easy? No, thank you. I do not want to live there. How could you ever relax again? How does society even function after Endgame? Like, I know everyone's happy that they came back after the blip and the snap, but the fact that you just disappeared for 5 years and a few guys saved the planet, it just feels like, wow, that easily could happen to us again at any point. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be in that situation. That would give me anxiety. Okay, let's go to the next one. Whew, all right. I'm going to answer the remaining questions and maybe a couple more, so doesn't mean we're going anywhere anytime soon. I'm just telling you. I have like 10 more questions in me. Claudia Roguejohn says, the original Twister always looked bad to me. I disagree with that. I think the original Twister looks fine, especially for a movie that came out in 1996. I think Twister looked beautiful. I think it doesn't necessarily hold up to today, but then again, did you watch the newest trailer for Twisters? Did that look that much better than what we got in 1996? I don't know. I actually thought the original Twister looked pretty good at the time. I think it still holds up because of just the characters and how charismatic they are in the story. I mean, even just rewatching Jurassic Park the other night on 4K, which reveals all the shortcomings of the CG at the time. Don't get me wrong, there's a handful of shots where you go, that looks like it's from 1993. But even so, it just works. You accept it. Because the movie's story camouflages those shortcomings. And also they tell it in such a simple way that it's just, the story just holds that movie together. I almost feel like the CG could be worse in Jurassic Park and it would still hold up. Because the storytelling masks those. But everything with the T-Rex looks beautiful. I'm sorry. I still think it looks great. Even when he's chasing the Jeep, it looks a little fuzzy, yeah. But other than that, it looks like it's rendered in like 720p at times. Like it looks a little soft. But other than that, what was the question? Something about CG or something? I don't know. Oh, Twister. Yeah, Twister. Okay. Lauren Middleton says, John, do you believe in the UFO cover-up story? Who knows? You know, the thing is, you know if the government is telling you that there's UFOs, what's really happening is much worse. Because, I believe nothing that we get from the media, just to be completely... I barely believe the weather forecast at this point in my life, okay? But if we're hearing UFO cover-up stories, there's something else going on. I think there's something happening. I think there's just a technology that we're not quite ready for that they've developed, and they don't know how to explain it. Do I think there's UFOs landing from another galaxy? Probably not. But I just think the government is in control of some kind of technology that, I don't know, it might be terrifying. I feel like we're going to turn into a Joe Rogan podcast. Hey, Jamie, pull that up. So the Egyptians, man, you know how long it took them to build the... Okay, I don't want to do my Joe Rogan impression. It's not very good. All right. Joe Nielsen says, John, wanted to say thank you for the live shows. They have really helped me through a really hard time in my life. Love from Australia. Oh, thanks, Joel. Thanks for that, man. Thanks for hanging out tonight, man. And hope you're doing well down under. Isn't that crazy? Like, I'm on top of a big ball, and you're on the bottom of it, and we're just spinning around thousands of miles per hour. Actually, about 1,000 miles per hour, if I think that's the rotational speed of the Earth. And you're just watching me on the internet. How did this happen? What kind of simulation do we live on or in? But sorry, yeah, thank you for that very endearing question, man. Thank you for that. And please keep watching. I'm not going anywhere. 2 scoops make a 3. I ain't driving. Okay. People say, I want to believe. No, I believe there's extraterrestrial life forms somewhere that are way more equipped and more advanced than we are. But even so, the question being, if they're that much more advanced where they can go beyond the speed of light and go thousands of light years into another galaxy, I feel like if they came across us, they would look down and think we were just slightly self-aware bacteria that have Netflix subscriptions. They'd get one radio wave from TikTok for 30 seconds and go, oh my God, keep going. Or maybe Earth is a testing laboratory just to see what if. We are the higher, if there's a higher life form out there, we are basically the reality TV show that they watch. We are Jersey Shore to them. We're B-rate entertainment. They're probably sitting back thinking, oh, look at these advanced creatures. Oh, they have this advanced technology where they can split atoms. What are they going to do with it? Time travel and go beyond the stars? No, they'll just make a bomb and blow each other up. Like, okay, let's go to the next question here. Skylar Wheelock says, have you heard about Nick Cage's upcoming movie, Long Legs? He plays a serial killer. That's all I need to know. It has my curiosity now. Not only does it have my curiosity, it also has my attention. So Nicolas Cage is playing a serial killer. Yes, please. Thank you. I will take that right now. I just hope it's good. Can they write Nick Cage an actual great performance that just doesn't have him being Nick Cage in like a big dumb B movie? I want this to be a serious performance. If it was along the lines of Matchstick Men, I could live with that. John Grow mullet. I don't know if I could pull that off. I don't know, man. Color Freak says, great content, bro. Well, thanks for that, man. Joey Ruiz, Lord of the Rings, says, do you like the house that Jack built? Matt Dillon. I have not seen it. I know. I've never seen it. Never got around to it. Michael Witherspoon has been a member for 25 glorious months. And his question is, just now checking in, thoughts on Taylor Swift? Laugh out loud. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Maybe people like to hear her sing. Okay. But I just don't get it. What the things that we're obsessed with in life, and then you look at Taylor Swift and you go, that's it. It's terrifying to me. And the fact that we have this weird mainstream media attention on her, it's scary to me that's what gets views. Like every 7 seconds during the Super Bowl, you basically had a Taylor Swift reaction camera, and that's where we are at with society. I don't know. It's scary to me. It feels like we're catering to the lowest common denominator, and I don't like it. The White Skull says, what streaming services do you have? Now, how many do I pay for, or how many do I have? Those are two very different questions, my good sir. But I will tell you the ones that we do use. We have Disney Plus. I have Paramount. I have Peacock Network, mostly for WWE content. I have Amazon Prime, obviously. Did I say Netflix? What else? Hulu. Pretty much all of them, to be completely honest with you. And it's getting tiresome. It's when you add up how much all of these cost, it just doesn't even make sense anymore. The next one comes from the Metalhead Jedi. Please forgive me. Who says, just DM'd you on Instagram. Still have the Snapchat you sent me. Also added a picture of me Tell me if I still look like Jason Seagal. Hell, I'll pull it up. Where did you send this? On Instagram? Okay. I'll look at it right now. If this is a dick pic, I'm going to be very upset with you. All right. I don't see it, man. I don't see it popping up. I'm sorry. Nope, I don't see it. Well, that was really underwhelming. I'll check again in a second. What's your username on Instagram? Claudia Rogajon says, no, I meant the movie in general looked bad, not CGI. Oh, no, the first Twister is a good time, man. Good pure 90s fun. Good thriller. Good popcorn thriller movie. What? That's all you need. All right, Night King 01 says, speaking of dream scenario, I can't shake the memory of this one SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob enters people's dreams to see what they are doing. The plot seems eerily similar. I mean, that sounds like a concept that someone would have written down somewhere 100 years ago. It would be truly fascinating to see what other people truly dream about, or to actually take your own dream and pretend like you could have the best director of all time create it with $150 million budget, and you could relive your dream cinematically. How would that terrify you? And would you want to show anyone? There's some dreams I've had where I'm just ashamed I had them. I wake up thinking, oh my God, I can't leave the house today. What have I just done? Like, there's always a deeper meaning behind dreams, though. Have you ever looked that up? That's some interesting stuff. I've been having a lot of apocalyptic dreams, and there's a deep meaning behind it. So we don't have to get deep, though. Okay. Jake Gyllenhaal ruined his career, in my opinion. You know, it does feel like Jake Gyllenhaal isn't quite in the movies you would expect him to be in. Like, he's in a Roadhouse remake, and that's cool and all. I think that Jake Gyllenhaal is a much better casting choice than I ever imagined for a Roadhouse remake. But it does feel like he would be making more movies like Prisoners or Zodiac. And now he's in a Roadhouse remake, and he was a really boring Marvel character with Mysterio. Hey, John, do you have Die Hard on 4K? I don't know. I don't know if I have it. I might. I don't know if I have it on 4K. I don't think I do. No, that's a lie. I think I do have Die Hard on 4K. I'm feeling really indecisive about this right now. Ideal Wrestling says, is the edible hitting good? Oh, you can tell? Sorry. Okay, the next one comes from RNML Design, who says, John, wasn't able to watch The Iron Claw in theaters. I want to watch it at home, but they only give you the option to buy. Why does Amazon do this? Because they want to suckle all the money they can from you, and when you're really desperate, you'll do it. But eventually, the people who are going to wait no matter what, they'll wait for the rent it now option, and then they'll rent it. And the real cheapskates will just simply wait till it's on streaming for free. I would say Iron Claw, if you like a real-life biopic that's very well done, and you like wrestling, I can't recommend it enough. I think it's worth the money to watch it now rather than wait. Yo, John, it's been years since I've seen a video of yours. How are you doing? How has it been years? I make these live shows almost once a week. I've been doing them for a couple, 4 years now. So how did you not accidentally just come across one? But thank you nevertheless for coming back after a couple of years. I missed you, man. Bucketeer, thanks for the emoji. Yeah, why is Gyllenhaal doing stuff like Ambulance? That's a great question. I don't know how he read the script for Ambulance and thought this is going to be really well done. Who's directing it? Michael Bay. he's kind of in a weird phase in his life. I feel like Gyllenhaal's sort of doing what Keanu Reeves did in the 90s. He's starring in all these action movies to kind of just do something radically different. And then maybe he'll get, I don't know, maybe he'll come back to dramas or something. Or maybe he wants to be an action star now. What else does he have to prove? I don't know. John, Nightcrawler or Taxi Driver? For me, I think relatability, I think Nightcrawler for me, if I had to pick one, I feel like if you could go into my brain, I say this as an example, but if you could go into my brain and you said, John, make the modern day version of Taxi Driver, but with an $8 million budget, I think Nightcrawler would be the best representation of that. Definitely not as gritty, but I like Nightcrawler, but Taxi Driver, I love it as well. I just think Nightcrawler is a bit more rewatchable, or at least for me it is. But I know a lot of people who probably could never watch it again. Okay, I'll answer a couple more questions, and I'm going to wrap up this live show, then say adios, muchacho. Okay. John, what is your favorite book that you wish to be a movie? Well, I don't know. I have not read a novel in a very long time. Isn't that sad? I know. I'm ashamed of myself. But years ago, I did read a book called The Trench. Now, The Trench actually went on to become the live-action movie, The Meg. And I know what you're thinking, John, I thought you had better taste than that. Well, let me explain myself. The Trench, the way that I read The Trench, it was almost like, it felt like a James Cameron / Christopher Nolan film that just had this scientific approach to it, and it also had megalodon sharks. And in my brain, I was imagining something of the equivalent of Abyss, with a little bit of, I guess, James Cameron-esque action from Terminator. That's how I imagine it when I read the novel. So I always thought that would be a phenomenal movie that would be like a $400 million budget. And then we got The Meg. And then what they did, rather than give it that tone I imagined for 10 years, they made it a Jason Statham movie with a Sharknado vibe. And that really saddened me deep down inside. So the White Skull says, I love you. And Bucketeer says, before you go, be my Valentine. I am your Valentine. From now until the end of days. We're like this. We're together. We're not doing that. Yes, we are. Okay. Let's answer one more questionnaire, because that got really odd, and I feel like it's time to go after such things. Have you seen Copland? Yes, I have. I like that Stallone gained like 40 pounds for the role. Jaws or Jurassic Park? I go with Jurassic Park. I know, I think Jaws is phenomenal, but Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies, so I have to pick it. But I actually have been in the mood to watch Jurassic Park on 4K, because I have not seen the 4K of it. I don't think ever. Or maybe, no, I watched it once when I first got it. But I didn't really watch the movie. I was just looking at the picture quality. Did I see Lord of the Rings back in 2001 in theaters? No, I did not, actually. I kind of wasn't into the fantastical movies in the early 2000s. So I didn't watch Lord of the Rings until it hit DVD. Funny enough. And then I was like, oh shit, I should have saw this in theaters. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live show right there, but I do want to say, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for the questions. We'll be back with one of these soon, and stick around. I'm not going anywhere. Have a happy Valentine's Day. If you're alone this Valentine's Day, well, give yourself a hug, close your eyes, and let my sweet sounds take you away. Have a good night, guys.